Hello students, on this video I'm going to show you how to solve problems from chapter 5.1, which is when we start talking about money and costs when it has to do with the ingredients in our recipes. Okay, so we're going to be calculating something that's called cost per unit. Okay, and I'm going to write it down as a formula. I'm going to call it AP cost per unit. Okay, and to find the AP cost per unit is very simple. You take the AP cost, so the price of your total ingredient or the way that you're going to purchase that ingredient, and divide it by the number of units that they're selling you. And by units, I mean any of the units on the conversion that we've been doing. So it can be AP cost per ounce, AP cost per pound, AP cost per pint, per milliliter, AP cost per gram, AP cost per kilogram, etc., etc. Okay, so the units is it's what changes depending on your needs. How do you want to see this ingredient, this specific ingredient? Okay, so for example, let's go ahead and start with the first ingredient, which is red wine vinegar. I'm gonna do 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Okay, so the AP cost for red wine is $18.35 per gallon. Capital G means gallon. Okay, so it looks like they're selling the red wine in a gallon. You cannot purchase anything less than the gallon for this specific red wine. Okay, so what will be my cost per cup in this case? Okay, so first of all, I have to take the units on the bottom, which are the volume or mass units, and I have to convert it to the appropriate cost per unit that I'm required to do that. Okay, so in this case, gallons to cups, that's the conversion that I'm doing. Okay, so it looks like the cost is per 1 gallon. So all I have to do is take 1 gallon and convert it to cups. Okay, so if you go to your conversion table, you're going to see that 1 gallon equals 16 cups. So we don't really need to do dimensional analysis here. It's 1 gallon, the equivalence is 16 cups. Okay, so now I'm going to apply the AP cost per unit formula. So I'm going to take the total number, the total cost, which is $18.35, and I'm going to divide it by the total number of units, in this case, cups. So 1 gallon has 16 cups. Since the cost is per gallon, I'm going to call this, instead of 1 gallon, I'm going to call it 16 cups. And after you do the division, you will get the total cost per cup in this case. I'm going to do 18.35 divided by 16. And my cost per cup, my AP cost per cup is $1.14. Well, I'm going to round that to 15 cents per cup. Okay. This number is not different than this number. It's just written in terms of a different unit. Okay. Of course, the cost per gallon is higher because a gallon has more content than a cup. Okay, but the cost per cup, if your recipe is written in cups, then you know the wine component of your recipe is going to cost you $1.15 every cup that you add to your recipe. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the same thing for this same red wine, but we're going to use the cost per fluid ounce. So we want to find the cost per fluid ounce. So every fluid ounce of wine that I use in my recipe, how much is it going to cost me? Okay, so again, the unit on the bottom, that's the gallons. Okay, it says 1 gallon, the cost per 1 gallon. So 1 gallon I have to convert to fluid ounces. So you can do dimensional analysis, or you can go to your table and you'll see that 1 gallon is 128 fluid ounces. Let's go ahead and do the formula, which is the total cost, $18.35 divided by the total number of units, in this case, 128 fluid ounces. Why? Because maybe this is a different requirement for a different recipe, right? It works for you to have a cost per cup in one recipe, and some other restaurant, it works to have the cost per fluid ounce. So that's why we're doing this calculation. So I'll do 18.35 divided by 128. Okay, and the cost here will be 14 cents per fluid ounce. Every fluid ounce of wine that you use is going to cost you 14 cents. This is the same thing as this. Okay, the same price as this price. It's just written in terms of different volumetric units. Okay, let's go ahead and do problem 3 now. Talks about pistachios, and the AP cost is $6.59 per pound. So every pound that I purchase is going to have a price of $6.59. Let's go ahead and find the cost per ounce. Okay, so I'm going to take the unit on the bottom, which is the pounds. It says 1 pound. Okay, 1 pound, and I'm going to convert this into ounces. You go to your conversion table, you know that 1 pound is 16 ounces. So we can go straight into the formula here. Okay, which is the total cost. Let me go ahead and write it down again. The AP cost per unit equals the AP cost divided by the number of units. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. Total cost is $6.59, and my total number of units in this case is 16 ounces, which is the 1 pound that I have here per pound per 1 pound. So you take $6.59 and divide it by the 16 ounces. Total cost per ounce will be 41 cents per ounce. Every ounce that you use of pistachios on your recipe is going to cost you 41 cents. Okay, same, but now we're going to calculate cost per kilogram. Okay, so cost per kilogram, I'm going to take the pounds, cost per 1 pound. I'm going to convert this to kilograms. Again, you go to your conversion table, you will see the equivalence of 1 pound equals 0.454 kilograms, or also 1 kilogram equals 2.205 pounds. You can use either or. Okay, but you have to do the proper conversion. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that to the formula. Total price is $6.59. That's the price from the problem here. And we are dividing that by the number of pounds, or the number of kilograms that are equivalent to 1 pound, which is 0.454 kilograms. Okay, and then you're going to do the division. 6.59 divided by 0.454. And the total cost per kilogram here will be $14.52 per kilogram. And it makes sense that this is a little bit more expensive than the original number that's provided, because a kilogram is a larger unit than a pound. So a kilogram is about twice, so twice and a little bit more of the pound. Okay, so it makes sense that the price of pounds by the pound is $6.59, and the kilogram is about double and a little bit more. Okay, so this is if it works for your recipes and for your restaurant to have the cost per kilogram. Okay, maybe you're doing a recipes that use a lot of pistachios. You're I don't know, you guys are the experts on this. Okay, let's go ahead and move into question 5. It says honey, the AP cost is $18 for every 5-pound can. Okay, so on this case, you're purchasing 5 pounds with the $18. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the cost per ounce. Let's go ahead and do this conversion. So I'm going to take the units on the bottom. In this case, it's a 5-pound can, or 5 pounds. So 5 pounds, I have to convert to ounces. And I have to do the conversion right now. Okay, because the first number, the number that we have here is not per pound, it's per 5 pounds. Okay, so I'm going to take the 5 pounds and convert it. So pounds to ounces. I know from my conversions that 16 ounces is 1 pound. So the total number of ounces that I have here is 80. Okay, let's go ahead and use the formula. Total cost, which is $18 divided by the total number of units, on this case is 80 ounces. That is equivalent of 5 pounds. Okay, to find the cost per ounce. So I'm going to take $18 and I'm going to divide it by 80 ounces, which gives me price of about 23 cents per ounce of honey. Okay, Let's go ahead and find the cost per cup on honey here. Okay. So again, I'm gonna take the 5 pounds and I have to convert this to cups. That's the first thing that I'm doing. So 5 pounds, we are converting to cups. And you can see that pounds is weight and cups is volume. So I would need to go to the book of yields and find an equivalence between weight and volume for specifically honey. And you will find that 1 pound of honey or is the equivalent of 1.33 cups. Let's go ahead and use that in the conversion. So 5 pounds, pounds on the bottom, cups on the top. And my conversion says that 1 pound is 1.33 cups. Let's go ahead and multiply 5 times 1.3, which is 6.67 cups. Okay, now let's go ahead and use the cost formula. Total price, total cost, $18 divided by the number of units, which is 6.67 cups. This will give you the total price per cup for honey, which is about $2.70 per cup. I'm just rounding here and there. If you had $2.69, $2.71, that's perfectly fine. Okay, you don't have to panic. So these numbers, as long as the number is really close to these numbers, then you should be fine. Okay, let's go ahead and check number 7. This is basil, which has an AP cost of $16.20 per 12 bunches. So you're purchasing by the 12 bunches. That's the AP unit. You packed up 12 of those and they sell it to you for $16.20. What is the cost per bunch? Let's go ahead and calculate that. Okay, so the unit that I have on the bottom, it's already bunches. So that means that I'm going to take it straight into the costing formula. Total cost is $16.20, and the total number of units is 12 bunches. So you do this division, and it should give you the cost per bunch. Okay, divided by 12. Cost per bunch is $1.35 each bunch. Okay, maybe it works for your recipes to have a cost per bunch. Maybe in a different restaurant, it works for them to have the cost per ounce. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this conversion. I'm going to take the 12 bunches, just to be systematic here. Okay, you can take this 1 bunch and use this price as well, but just to keep it systematic, I'm going to take the 12 bunches and I'm converting this to ounces. Let's go ahead and start. 12 bunches, bunches on the bottom, ounces on the top. These ounces are weight, and this bunches is by the count. So that means I need the book of yields to get an equivalence between weights and counts. I went to the book of yields and I found out that 1 bunch is 2.5 ounces. Okay, so 1 bunch is 2.5 ounces. So I'll take 12 times 2.5. Total number of ounces for 12 bunches is 30 ounces. And now I'm going to do the costing formula. Total price, which is $16.20. You're dividing by the total amount of units. In this case, if you want the cost per ounce, then that's 30 ounces. Okay, so 16.20 divided by 30 ounces. Cost per ounce, 54 cents. Cost per ounce. Okay. Last but not least, let's go ahead and do olive oil. Okay, and I have the cost of $21.42 per 3 liters. So it looks like they're selling you a packet of 3 liters. Maybe that's 3 bottles. Each of those is 1 liter. It's a big container of 3 liters, right? We don't know. So that's the total cost for 3 liters. Let's go ahead and find the cost per milliliter. So I'm going to take the 3 liters as the first thing and convert it to milliliters. So go to the conversion table and you'll see 1 liter is 1000 mLs. So let's go ahead and start converting. Liters on the bottom, mLs on the top. 1 liter is 1000 millis. Okay, so total amount of milliliters that I'm dealing with is 3,000. Once you do the conversion, let's take this to the costing formula. Total price divided by the total number of units, which is 3,000 mLs. We just calculated that number. You will get the cost per ml. And remember that milliliters is a really small quantity, so usually cost per milliliters is going to be a really, really small number. Okay, so in this case, it's 0 point, since this is money, I'm just gonna write it down like this first, which is the actual number that I'm getting. But this is money. We can pay all of these numbers. So I'm just gonna round to 1 cent per ml. Okay, remember, the smaller the unit, the smaller the price per unit that you're gonna have. Okay, milliliters, that's a really, really small number, so you're paying very, very little money for this. Okay, and well, I don't have the instructions here, but I believe the next part B says AP cost per fluid ounce, which is a slightly larger unit than milliliters. So hopefully the price per fluid ounce is going to be a little bit larger. Okay, so I'm gonna take my 3 liters that I'm beginning with, I mean here from the formula, from the problem, sorry. And I'm converting that to my desired unit, which is fluid ounces. Okay, so 3 liters, liters on the bottom, fluid ounces on the top, and then you go to your conversion table and find an equivalence between liters and fluid ounces, which is 33.8 fluid ounces per liter. So 33.8 fluid ounces per 1 liter. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the math here. So 33.8 times 3. Total number of fluid ounces is 101.4. Let's take this to the costing formula here. So $21.42. The total units is 101.4 fluid ounces, number that we just calculated. Okay, so I'm going to do division 21.42 divided by 101.4. Okay, the cost per fluid ounce is 21 cents per fluid ounce. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for on 5.1 to do this kind of calculations for AP cost per units and AP costs in general. Okay. Thank you very much, guys, and let me know if you have any questions.